Welcome everyone to the 2026 TESOL Media Lounge powered by Summit K-12. I'm your host, Andrea Cano. On today's episode, we have Dr. Hilal Peker with us. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to where you're at now and who you are? What do you love about what you do?
I love my profession, so let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Hilal Peker. I'm originally from Turkey. I moved to the US back in 2011. Currently, I'm working at Florida Gulf Coast University as a director of the Office of Competitive Fellowships, helping first-generation students, mainly getting those Fulbright, Gilman kind of federal scholarships. And I'm also an associate professor of TESOL at the same university, Florida Gulf Coast University. What I love about my profession is that I love advocating for ESOL students, multilingual learners, bullied English learners, women in teacher leadership. Those are
really important.
I am very passionate about those. Yes.
Well, and you said that you yourself have been in that position, right? You moved here from Turkey and
Yes.
having to do that. How has that impacted and empowered your advocacy work?
Well, experiencing things from firsthand enables that door to open for you, that you can see things from both sides. So technically, my first advocacy started when I was an undergrad student back in Turkey at Middle East Technical University. So a couple of friends and mine and I, we decided to teach English to the children of the school personnel who could not afford the language extra language practice or language resources. So we started offering them weekend lessons. And what made that experience beautiful is that I was able to see how, what they need, what they can't reach and what they can reach. So kind of listening to them, seeing their needs, it made me be more aware of those kinds of issues that we need to focus on, because language learning or going to a school doesn't consist about getting the instruction, because they may need language, they may need content instruction, they may also need socio-emotional development or support from adults. So yeah,
that's kind of what
that's how it started.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your advocacy work here at TESOL?
Yes, I love TESOL, and I have been very much involved since the times that I attended my first TESOL. It was I think 2012 or 11 back in Dallas. It was my very first TESOL.
Yeah.
And what I have noticed is that advocacy is not only happening in classroom. It happens in the structure of those systems too. So that's when I decided that I'm going to volunteer. I will help the systems and the structures to help those learners in classroom, because as teachers, we help students in classroom, but there are things that we can't change by just being only in classroom. So I decided to volunteer for leadership positions. I was the chair, assistant chair, and then the chair of the advocacy strand. And then I was the chair of the conferences council, the one in 2024 in Tampa. I was able to, help organize. And then I'm currently the past chair of nominating committee. So every year I volunteer for something to make things right if we see certain things as issues.
Yes. Well, so when do you sleep? You're on all these, you're teaching, you're on committees, you're doing all these things.
Yeah,
when do you get a rest?
Well, when you do the things that you're passionate about, that's your rest actually. If you're passionate about something, you just do that. That's your break from other things that you're doing. So
yes. Yeah. So can you tell, because advocacy is very important in the world of education, especially in English language teaching, right? It's especially now, we need to be advocating and making sure not only us as educators, but our students are also advocating, our parents are advocating. What are some ways that, some practical ways that teachers could advocate in the space that we're in?
So I see advocacy as a two-way system. So the the advocacy happening in classroom mainly focuses on advocating for students' language development. And not only the language development, because when we have immigrant students, we also have the content instruction, right? Content part of it. So supporting learners from both while also supporting their socio-emotional development. Like I did bullying victimization research. And before doing the research, I thought the English learners would be bullied in classroom, but I found out that there are also like second language learners bullying others, because that is power relations and somebody needs to be powerful. So certain things, like if we're not paying attention in classroom, it's not, it's not only about language instruction, it's about paying attention to students' needs. What's going on? Are they being bullied? Or like, is it because of their ethnicity, language difficulty? Or is it a language difficulty or disability? All those things. Like advocacy in classroom that teachers need to do is pay attention, listen to your learners.
Yes. And so is that what
that was
is
one
guiding,
system?
Yeah, one system. So what are some other ways that you're seeing advocacy and working in that
Yes.
aspect?
So the second part of it is related to the structures and systems that we are building for the classroom. So by means of that, I'm referring to the governance of TESOL International. So since I've been involved in like multiple units of, like all the different strands, different councils, committees, I see that like if we help change some systems, it is indirectly impacting the learners in classrooms. So let's say we're creating resources for all English teachers, and that's going to help the classrooms, because there are schools and teachers who cannot have access to those. Basically, widening the access to leadership, mentorship, teacher mentoring, all those things will absolutely help the learners in classroom. So one side is governance, the other side is the classroom practice. Especially like to give an example from my life, I grew up in a very small village that still has no school. I had to travel to get my education, the primary school years, to another village because there was no school. So thinking about that, like, so we have those kinds of learning environments, and then we have this AI technology nowadays. So, what do we do to help this part of the world to kind of balance it, and then kind of give them access and make them equal, right? So all those things we need to consider. It's indirectly impacting the classroom instruction that we do.
Yes. Yeah. And another aspect of, I know what you're passionate about is as well as women in the field.
Yes.
And advocating for them and lifting them up. Can you speak a little bit about that as well?
Yes, I'm a very
which you should be.
I have worked on, dual language immersion a little bit, and bullying victimization, and teacher education through simulation and AI. But currently I am more working on the advocating women teacher leaders, because they're, when we go to the leadership positions, especially in academia, we see a lot of imbalances in power. So I'm empowering and uplifting my women teacher leaders, leader friends, to help them understand that it's okay to go for, if you know that like that's the right way, then go for it, try it, do not be afraid.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do nowadays.
That's awesome, which is very much needed. And advocacy work it's amazing work. It's good work, but it's hard work. So what advice would you give to educators right now that want to start advocating more? What piece of advice would you give them in this landscape that we're in?
I would say start with listening. Listen to your learners. Listen to your colleagues who work as leaders, teacher leaders. First, listen to them and understand the needs, what they are going through, right? That's what we do actually in our office. When we set up appointments with students, the first meeting always have to be about the student. Who are you? Tell me, what are you going through? Like, what is it? So I would advise listening to whoever is trying to explain something. And then start with kind of collaborating with others. For example, at schools, we have counselors, we have paraprofessionals, we have other like administration. So we're not only working in a closed box.
Not
We
in
work
silos.
with, and we have to work with those people. So start approaching them for collaborative purposes, because advocacy doesn't happen, all of a sudden. It takes a long time.
Yes.
And also advocacy happens with the community.
Yes.
That community will help that process. And also advocacy is stronger when it's shared. So share that experience, because that's what makes it beautiful.
Yes.
And what else I can say? Engage professionally, so like people can
Be a part
volunteer
of TESOL too.
Yes,
and-
volunteer for be an award reviewer or proposal reviewer, or come to a nominating committee. Let's choose our own leaders together. So be a part of that system. But most importantly, do not be discouraged by any of the blocks on the way, because advocacy takes a long time. It takes a lot of effort, and sometimes there will be some tears.
Yes.
There will be happy moments, but at the end, when you see that, especially like considering my work right now, when I see my first generation students being selected for Fulbright scholarships and going abroad to teach English, that's what makes me happy.
Yes.
So that's the feeling. So just think about that feeling at the end and continue working.
Absolutely. That's great advice to share with people. And you recently, or you are winning an award because of your advocacy work. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And you have a plaque. I'd love for you to show your plaque.
Thank
of your,
you.
Yes.
Thank you so
Can you tell
much.
us a little bit about this award and what it means to you to be winning this, receiving this?
Thank you so much. It means a lot to me, because I worked with students with disabilities, teaching them languages, when some people believed that, it's too much to teach learners another language, but we believed in that, and we've seen positive effects. And then I worked with bullied English learners and developed strategies how to work with them, and seeing some positive impact in the field that made me proud of my work. And now I'm working with women leaders, and tomorrow we have a panel on teacher leadership, and I will be focusing on the women leaders in teacher leadership. So seeing those things going on, and like being, like lots of people follow those things, and like seeing those positive things happening, it makes me so proud. And this is a kind of testament to that.
To your hard work.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And it sounds like you are doing amazing work in the advocacy space. And in general, seriously, I don't know when you sleep. All the things you're doing.
I try.
But again, congratulations.
Thank you
And
so
thank you
much.
so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you everyone for tuning in to another episode of TESOL Media Lounge. And remember, keep learning, stay curious y hasta la próxima. Disfruta el viaje.